Thank you so much for joining us here at the First Alert Desk. I'm Maria Moreau. I want to take you out to some breaking news that we're following here at Atlanta News First, starting with this one. One of the defendants, one of 19 actually, in the Georgia election interference case involving former President Donald Trump and others, has agreed to a plea deal. This is none other than Jenna Ellis. Ellis is the fourth Donald Trump-related co-defendant to make a plea agreement in the ongoing case. Now, as the latest co-defendant in the Georgia election interference case, she entered a deal which involved her pleading guilty to one count of aiding and abetting false statements in writing. Now, prosecutors did recommend 5 years of probation along with a $5,000 fine, 100 hours of community service, writing an apology letter, and testifying truthfully in trials related to this case. Now, we're going to continue to follow the latest to come out of this on AtlantaNewsFirst.com and the Atlanta News First app. Make sure that you have that downloaded. Any and all developing stories just like this one. We have a lot more co-defendants named in this trial. We're continuing to follow that, and we'll push it directly to your phone. All right, and I want to talk about this, just a devastating story we've been following involving a mother and her 6-year-old son. Now, new details into our newsroom with the mother now being charged in the death of her son, Azaria Shante Burton, who you see right here. She was found inside of just outside of the home, actually. Let me bring that back up. There you go. This after the 6-year-old was found with multiple stab wounds when Gwinnett County firefighters responded to a house fire. Now, they did find on the scene the 2 small fires along with the wounded boy. That boy was rushed to the hospital where he unfortunately later died. Burton was found by police hiding behind the home in Peachtree Corners. She is now behind bars at the Gwinnett County Jail. We're going to stay on top of that and monitor the latest details to come out of this. Now, another story we broke to you this morning on Atlanta News First, this one involving a shooting of a woman. Excuse me, my graphics are glitching a little bit. There we go. As you can see, a live picture that we took earlier, actually, of police investigating a deadly shooting in southwest Atlanta. Now, this involving a woman and 2 children. It happened inside a home on Highview Road. That's over near Beecher Park. The woman actually was the victim. She's believed to be in her 50s. The 2 children that were named were inside the home at the time of the shooting. However, luckily, they were not injured. And a story one of our reporters has been following here out of DeKalb County. A new ordinance is tracking gas stations and surveillance specifically at gas stations out in DeKalb County. And as you'll hear from our Bridget Spencer, the ordinance is affecting hundreds of businesses and now facing scrutiny as more people and a law firm are pushing to get rid of it.
Well, we're talking about more than 200 gas stations and convenience stores across DeKalb County. This ordinance went into effect over the summer in an effort to stop violent crime. DeKalb County Commissioner Lorraine Cochran-Johnson sponsored the ordinance directing all gas stations in unincorporated DeKalb to install cameras at entrances, exits, and gas pumps. Now, attorneys at the nonprofit Institute for Justice based in Virginia, they wrote a letter to county leaders admonishing the ordinance, basically saying that it violates the Fourth Amendment. Now, one of those attorneys, Jared McClain, takes issue specifically with the portion of the ordinance that says footage should be stored for 60 days and then handed over to police within 72 hours after they ask for it.
What the Fourth Amendment requires is that when the government wants to either come onto or take your property, they need to go before a neutral judge and show that they have a good reason to believe that they're going to find the evidence of a crime.
I think it is a far stretch to say that it's a violation of Fourth Amendment right.
Gas stations have until January 1st to make sure they are compliant. Otherwise, they could lose their business license. In the meantime, Commissioner Lorraine Cochran-Johnson stands by her ordinance. In DeKalb County, Bridget Spencer, Atlanta News First.
And we're following this story, a major development here in Georgia that could affect thousands of people, really anybody that is either planning a family or finds themselves faced with a pregnancy. A ruling by the Georgia Supreme Court of that ruling known as the heartbeat law. Well, the Georgia Supreme Court said that that law will stand. The justices ruled that the lower court's rulings being reversed, so they are upholding the current law that says Georgia doctors can't perform abortions in most cases once a heartbeat is detected in the womb, and that roughly stands at the 6th week of pregnancy. Now, several groups did end up challenging that law, and ultimately the Georgia Supreme Court released its decision, and that decision being in favor of the state. Now, the big question is what happens now? Well, the plaintiffs had argued that Georgia's law was passed in 2019, and because of Roe v. Wade, that was still the law of the land at that time because of the Supreme Court precedent. Now, as we continue to follow the next steps in this, the state says that Roe v. Wade was never constitutional in the first place, a Fulton County judge siding with the plaintiffs originally, and then the state appealing that decision. So now the Georgia Supreme Court has reversed the lower court's decision. Legal observers telling us it's likely to happen that the plaintiffs will go back to the Fulton County judge to ask him to decide whether a fundamental right to privacy under the state constitution has been violated. We're going to continue to monitor this on AtlantaNewsFirst.com and in the free Atlanta News First app. A lot of stories coming out this morning, major developments and some stories that we've been following really for quite some time now, and we're going to continue to keep you updated, but I wanted to end this on a lighter note. Halloween is officially 1 week away, and for a lot of people, they are gearing up to trick-or-treat. So as you can see, many will be knocking on doors, collecting their candy, and while a lot of others will be manning that front door, trying to see which candy those trick-or-treaters will keep and which is going to ultimately remain in your pantry for the remainder of the year. Well, Shiny Smile Veneers surveyed about 1,000 candy consumers to see what the most popular Halloween candy is. The top of the list is none other than Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, followed by M&M's, Kit Kats, and Snickers. And for the non-chocolate lovers, Starburst, Skittles, and Nerds made the good list. Now, on the flip side, candy corn is at the top of the worst candy to get list. Others include Peeps, Dots, Red Hots, and Lemon Heads. Now, I have a hot take on this that a lot of people are just not going to agree. I'm going to bring in our meteorologist, Courtney Jacobazi, to weigh in on this. The worst list of candy is my favorite candies. What about you?
Yeah, so I do think that's an unpopular opinion because I don't know who likes Dots, but Lemon Heads aren't terrible. So one of my favorites is on the best list, which is Kit Kats. But my favorite candy is Baby Ruth, which is not popular at all by anyone. I feel like it's a very underrated candy, but it's my favorite. So
I hear Almond Joy also not a popular choice, but similar like Baby Ruth.
Yeah, and I like Almond Joys too. Not my favorite, but yeah, just candies that go unnoticed. Now, I will say, a popular candy that I feel like a lot of people do like that I cannot stand is Butterfinger.
I
don't like butter. Okay, so we got that going.
Aligned. Hey,
yep.
I also love to hear good news about the weather. Do we have any?
Yes, we do. It's going to be a beautiful week. Warm, though, so if you like the warm weather, then we have a lot of it on the way for you. In fact, we have a couple of 80s. Yeah, 80s on the 7-day. So let's get into it. Beautiful view here looking down through Sandy Springs, starting to see some of the colors in the trees there. Overall, a really nice start to your day as I give Maria back her jacket before I get going. So a nice looking view. The road's looking good too at this hour. Good morning. I am First Alert Meteorologist Courtney Jacobazi, and we're going to talk about another beautiful day. If you liked yesterday, today's almost going to be a copy and paste when it comes to the forecast, so let's get into it. We had a few extra clouds around this morning, but now for the most part seeing mostly sunny skies, and that's how it'll stay through the rest of the day today. Temperatures by 3 o'clock in the low 70s, and we'll top out in the low 70s. Some spots in West Georgia like Rome, LaGrange, you might be a little warmer today in the mid 70s, but overall just a beautiful day. We'll also have a nice breeze to work with. Now moving out of the east-southeast, so that will help make for a warming trend over the next few days. That southerly component to our wind pulls in some warmer air from the oceans that are to our southeast being the Atlantic and to our southwest being the Gulf of Mexico. So today will be just near average, but as we continue to pull in our wind from the east-southeast and then eventually the southwest, our temperatures will only go up. And that's just one piece of the puzzle for our warming trend. But nonetheless, a beautiful day today. You will notice a breeze as well. That's where I was getting at with that, is that you could have a wind gust today, upwards of maybe 15 to 20 miles per hour. So I think that's just going to make the day be that much more pleasant. Through the overnight, lows will drop into the upper 40s to low 50s. So another chilly morning tomorrow. You'll definitely need at least a light jacket. As we go through the rest of the week, this ridge of high pressure at the surface and in the mid-levels is going to build. And as it does so, our temperatures will warm. Essentially, when you get under these ridges of high pressure, these happen a lot in the summertime, and they do happen throughout the year periodically. They're just most pronounced in the summer. But nonetheless, this ridge will build, and that's going to prevent any kind of weather systems from moving in. It's going to keep us dry. Underneath an area of high pressure, air sinks. So when air sinks, it warms. We call it compressional warming in the meteorology world. And so our temperatures will only go up and up as this dominates the area. Now, at the surface, we'll also have a ridge of high pressure, so it's kind of a twofer here. We're going to have high pressure in the mid to upper levels, high pressure at the surface, and what that will do at the surface for us is pull in a southwesterly flow. Notice that H there, that's high pressure, and the arrows are rotating the way they are for a reason. Wind around an area of high pressure flows clockwise, so as it positions itself slightly east of the city, our wind will start to come out of the southwest. What's to our southwest? The Gulf of Mexico. The Gulf of Mexico, a very warm body of water. Also, obviously, a moisture source. So our humidity will go up slightly. It's not going to be summertime sticky, but you'll notice at least that humidity go up just a touch because we've just had some really, really, really dry conditions. I think it'll be noticeable when it goes up slightly by the weekend. Here's a look at our temperatures. So again, that ridge over in control, warming trend really kicks off starting tomorrow. So mid-70s tomorrow. Upper 70s Thursday and Friday, and they'll be in the low 80s Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Some models are hinting that we could even have some mid-80s as we head into the start of next week. Now, the 7-day only goes out to Monday, but tomorrow it will include Halloween, and that's something we're going to be watching. No rain leading up to Halloween on Monday. Tuesday, of course, being Halloween, but what we're going to be watching is a cold front, and you might notice some of the purple and pink colors trailing that front. In parts of the plains in the upper Midwest, they could get some winter weather right before Halloween. Could you imagine? Could you imagine dealing with that on Halloween? And then here comes that front. So here's Monday morning. So that front could bring us maybe some light rain on Tuesday for Halloween. One model says rain potential. Another model brings the front in more so Wednesday, Thursday. So there's still definitely some fine tuning to do with the timing of rain. Now, if this front moves in slower, it's going to be really, really warm on Halloween. If the front moves in on Tuesday and brings us some rain in the afternoon, then Halloween night will be at least a little more temperate for us. So something we'll be paying very close attention to, but at least looking ahead to next week, it does look like we will see some changes and get out of this really unseasonably warm pattern that is on the way as we head, especially into the second half of the week. So here's a look at Atlanta's most accurate 7-day forecast. And so no first alerts on the 7-day, no rain or storms, at least through Monday. Of course, as I mentioned, we'll be watching that for next week, though. Low 70s today, beautiful, breezy, lots of sunshine. Mid 70s tomorrow, upper 70s on the way for Thursday and Friday. And then we have a stretch of low 80s Saturday through Monday, and again, in some spots, especially south of the city, we are not ruling out mid-80s. Not going to feel much like fall. It'll feel more like late August, early September weather as we head into the start of next week, but it does look like it's not going to last too long. We will have a front at some point next week that should cool us off pretty nicely. So something we'll look forward to if you are not a fan of the warmer weather returning. It doesn't look like it'll stay around for too long here in North Georgia. All right, everyone, we will be sure to keep you updated on the forecast, especially tonight when the 7-day kind of shifts. We'll get Halloween on the 7-day later tonight, so you'll want to pay attention and just kind of get an early preview. But again, very up in the air with that front. We still have several days to fine-tune whether that front's going to come through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Those are kind of a range of options there, and that'll obviously impact Halloween in some capacity. So something we'll be watching very carefully for you. I hope you make it a wonderful day. In the meantime, just enjoy this beautiful weather with the fall-like air, the fall-like temperatures, the nice breeze. Really just couldn't ask for better. We'll catch you here next time. Thanks so much for spending time with us.